Hello and welcome to my presentation on the Shaolin Yi Jin Jing Qigong system of practice and why it takes 3 years to complete the entire process. The presentation lasts about 40 minutes. At the end of the presentation, I will describe the different ways that you can engage in this opportunity if you're interested in this kind of Qigong practice. If we haven't met in any way, in person or online, my name is Dr. Michael Smith, and I've been practicing Qigong martial arts and meditation for about 47 years. Whew. And about 40 years ago, I began studying in traditional lineages, and specifically the Guru Chung lineage of the 10 roads or 10 path Shaolin lineage of practice, including the Yi Jin Jing system of Qigong, Iron Body, and Iron Palm. At present, I'm not offering training in the Iron Body or Iron Palm. We could have chats about that if you like, but I'm focused primarily on the inner cultivation, longevity, and Qigong aspects of the Yi Jin Jing, or the muscle tendon change. About 30 years ago, I became a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine and have been a frontline integrative medicine clinician ever since. And for about 20 of those years, I've been a clinical professor, training doctors of traditional Chinese medicine, functional medicine, and integrative medicine on the best ways to help support people with the modern health epidemic or chronic disease epidemic. I'm sharing that because as a teacher of the Yi Jin Jing or muscle tendon change Qigong system, I'm very fascinated by, but also very inspired by the understanding that modern science can bring, as well as ancient traditions have already come to understand, about how effective this kind of training is at not only healing your body, helping you become more fit and agile and effective, especially if you're a martial artist, but also, and probably most importantly, how effective this system of cultivation is at ensuring longevity. And I'll get into all of the details during the presentation, so I hope you enjoy. Why does the Shaolin tendon transformation, or Yi Jin Jing Qigong practice, take 3 years to complete? The Shaolin Muscle Tendon Change, or Yi Jin Jing, is one of the most well-known and sought-after systems of Qigong in the world. If you have not heard of the muscle tendon change and its sister practice, bone marrow washing, they are elements of one of the most profound and effective approaches to embodied awareness, physical fitness, spiritual cultivation, and meditation traditions on Earth. They are famous for improving health, vitality, martial arts capacity, as well as enhancing Qi sensitivity and awareness, boosting neuroplasticity, and increasing both longevity and the quality of life in your elder years. For Qigong practitioners and teachers, this system is one of the last remaining intact traditions that still combines early Indigenous Daoist Animistic practices and the Shaolin Monastery's development and precision over the last 1500 years. The earliest ways of practicing this kind of Qigong originated long before written language, during hard winters when human beings were huddled in simple shelters. Like most mammals, the need to stretch, move, and breathe deeply has always been a survival imperative. As well, the opportunity of many months of deep inquiry into stillness, silence, existence, attention beyond time, as well as being more than a separate self, became the original exploration of what we now call Chan, or Zen. The original name for this practice was Daoyin. The characters for Daoyin describe the experience of interacting with your present felt sense of your connective tissues through precise gestures that bring awareness to and release habitual tensions towards whole body pliability. After a few months, the inner landscape of your somatic experience will begin shifting towards alignment, balance, stability, and flow. This kind of movement is called pandiculation. Pandiculation is your nervous system's way of resetting your somatosensory and motor system's capacity for embodied awareness and movement. Pandiculation helps prepare you, after being at rest, for more activity. Human beings and most animals naturally pandiculate when they wake up or when they have been sedentary for a long time. You have probably seen cats arch their backs when they get up from a nap, or watched a baby stretch their arms and legs and yawn as they wake up. This is the pandiculation response. For thousands of years, Daoist adepts have developed and evolved this practice towards whole body tensegrity. Tensegrity describes a balance of tension and tone, pliability and flexibility, as well as structural integrity, and an interconnection of all of your muscles, tendons, and fascial membranes across all of your joints, deeply rooted on healthy and strong bones. Those who achieve tensegrity, in general, are known for their high levels of agility, balance, strength, and accurate reflexes. This natural capacity, however, can be developed even further. 1500 years ago, the Shaolin Monastery was focused on Shan or Zen, seated practice, as a path of meditation and spiritual enlightenment. To improve their endurance for meditation and longevity, monks began including martial arts conditioning. Daoyin or Qi Gong focused on pandiculation and tensegrity, as well as resistance training and Daoist animistic embodiment practices. Over time, and with many influences and experiments, the Yi Jin Jing principles of practice were born. The rest is history. In 2025, how we understand this process scientifically is very specific and proves beyond any doubt how and why it works so profoundly. In short, when you first begin working with your muscles and membranes, tendons and connective tissues, we all begin to interact with our bodies as if we were made of cables and levers. Today, this usually involves lifting weights or using body weight-centered resistance training. When you progress to interacting through your fascia and joints, applying more complex forces like torsion and gyration, while also exploring other subtle aspects of movement and embodiment, this can shift your body's inner landscape of muscles, membranes, and fascia to an interconnected and almost infinite series of interwoven nets of collagen. With a gradual increase in complexity, proper nutrition, and movements designed to challenge your connective tissues in some very unique ways, you can begin to develop a deeper process. Skillful and organized pandiculation practices with elongation, torsion, incremental contraction and release, varying momentum, gyration, and specialized breath work that increases nitric oxide, which is your most Qi-stimulating breath gas. All of your connective tissues begin transforming to their original and highest potential. This takes considerable training, guided practice, and is called whole body myofascial tensegrity, which is a fancy way of saying you have accomplished the first stage or the first year of Yi Jin Jing training. Now your body can become an almost fluid-like gel, filling a near-endless web of honeycomb-like sponges and complex networks of filaments and membranes that are interwoven and interconnected from your fingernails to your toenails, from your tailbone to the top of your head. This includes every organ, bone, blood vessel, and even each and every cell in your body. The benefits of Shaolin strength and longevity Qigong. Modern science is presently going through a small revolution when it comes to fascia. Historically, fascia was just considered a protective membrane. However, recent groundbreaking research can describe what fascia's many functions and attributes are in profound and inspiring detail. I'm going to get into some specifics of physiology, but the takeaway will always be better vitality, faster healing, and almost guaranteed increased longevity. As you develop whole body fascial tensegrity, the Yi Jin Jing, your connective tissues begin rebuilding themselves as a complete anatomical and physiological system. At first, you make more fibroblasts, which produce collagen filaments. At the same time, you make more fasciocytes, which produce a gel-like serum that lubricates the friction between fascial membranes. And as well, you make more osteoblasts that increase the strength and density of collagen in your bones. This increases a protein called elastin, which helps all of your connective tissues maintain their pliability, even your blood vessels. Increased elastin can also help lower your blood pressure, and protect you from cardiovascular disease. With this form of training, your body also begins producing an abundance of stem cells, which are precursor cells for almost every structure in your body. If you are consistent and maintain a healthy diet, you will also increase the production of hyaluronic acid, which helps your membranes, including your muscles, fascia, and skin, from withering and wrinkling. Hyaluronic acid is an essential component of the tissue repair and healing process. Hyaluronic acid, or HA, is commercially available as a beauty supplement that is used to keep people's skin from sagging, wrinkling, and becoming thin for as long as possible. This combination of precursor tissue growth and repair cells is like a gel, which is like having money in your collagen, immune system, and longevity bank account. On a metabolic level, more muscle strength means more muscle mitochondria, which necessarily burns more calories every day, even while you sleep. Isometric, isotonic, and isokinetic exercises, and other specific forms of resistance training all help improve nerve conduction, which is another source of an increase in lean muscle mass and another vector for increasing your longevity. Regular exercise also increases your human growth hormone, HGH, and DHEA, both of which improve general health outcomes as well as tissue repair, immune function, and longevity. From a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, all of your connective tissues, called qin, are an expression of your liver's adaptive capacity. An increase in stem cells, healthier bones, and the other precursors listed above all indicate that your kidney, qing or essence, is gradually restoring itself to its innate potential. This, of course, improves almost every aspect of your health and is first seen with healthier hair and vision and an increased sex drive. Collagen is a unique molecule. Collagen is a protein molecular structure that your fibroblast cells produce. It is not so much a living cell as an extracellular strand-like physical structure that actually makes up 25 to 35% of your entire body. Collagen filaments are a triple helix scaffold that wraps around itself like a spring that can absorb, maintain, and help apply forces. Collagen is dependent on a pre-filament gel. This gel has a unique characteristic that allows it to support collagen filaments under sudden changes in forces in a way that is called a non-Newtonian interaction. That means when you apply a force rapidly, it becomes almost instantly more solid, and when you apply forces more gradually, it stretches in a more spring-like and elastic or even fluid way. This allows your deepest cellular and molecular connective tissues through your whole body to act as a capacitor, which is something like a battery that can store and release piezoelectricity. Piezoelectricity is a form of energy that is produced through mechanical forces on materials like crystals, metals, and even collagen. This energy can be stored and released depending on the forces involved and the complexity and density of the material. In fact, piezoelectricity is how the speakers in your sound system use electricities to make the vibrations of sound. In human tissues, better piezoelectric conduction results in better nerve signaling, impact resistance, and an explosive power. Now, I'm not suggesting that piezoelectricity is qi, although it does suggest better qi flow in your tissues and meridians that are trained to increase this innate capacity. Here's a quick recap. Humans, like most animals, need to pendiculate to stay healthy, avoid becoming stiff, and to relieve any pain after injury or long periods of rest, perhaps like a long winter in a hut. With some precision and consistency, well-organized pendiculation can begin to develop tensegrity. If you are willing to learn some slightly complex movements, stretches, and exercises, you can augment this innate capacity and cultivate whole-body fascial tensegrity, or the Yi Jin Jing. This process, from the beginning, helps your body produce all of the precursor molecules, proteins, and cells that ensure optimal connective tissue capacity. Here's a fun fact. for every pound of dense, high collagen connective tissue in your body, you can measurably extend your life. There's actually an old Chinese medicine saying that says, for every measure, or about 10 pounds of muscle you add to your body, you will extend your life about a decade. So why does the Yi Jin Jing, or this kind of training, take 3 years to complete? The Yi Jin Jing system of inner cultivation is meant to be a lifelong journey of discovery, refinement, purification, and honoring the sacred gift of life. Like learning a language, it takes time to learn the words, the syntax, the grammar, and the colloquial and contemporary expressions. With an experienced guide who holds the complete system, you can learn the language of Yi Jin Jing in 3 years. The rest of your journey will be focused on refining the classic forms and principles, while also discovering your unique ways of expressing embodied poetry. Year 1. In the first year, the focus is on restoring and repairing all of your connective tissues. Depending on your age, medical history, posture, and previous injuries, it takes some time to develop the foundations for the Yi Jin Jing process, which includes the journey of cultivating whole body myofascial tensegrity. Most of the first year is focused on learning the practices, forms, principles, and methods, while also engaging in a process called wu quan. This term implies repairing any deficits, building more whole body connective tissues, as well as balancing and improving everything front and back, left and right, up and down, through all of your gradually increasing and interconnected collagen filaments and precursor gel. As your movement skills begin to include a more complete range of motion, with enough torsion and gyration, your muscles, tendons, and membranes, fascia, and deeper collagen connections become balanced and strong. Increasing your muscle mass happens in 2 ways. One is muscle volume, and the other is muscle density. This system of practice can ensure both, in whatever proportion you train for, and of course depending on your genetic potential. One of the primary motivations for developing this system of practice has always been the ability to sit or stand very still in meditation for long periods of time. In meditation, this path is like walking with 2 feet. One step or foot focuses on enhancing and restoring your physical body, and the other foot takes a step towards developing a coherence of attention and intention that trains a capacity of your mind, called yin yang, which describes a coherent, interactive awareness and state. Year 1 outline. In Year 1, you will learn the following forms, principles, embodiment skills, resistance training, and breathwork practices of the system. In Year 1, we will focus on the 3 Yi Jin Jing forms, keeping in mind that we are focusing on the principles and using the forms in order to employ these practices more specifically and consistently. The forms are optional. In this tradition, we focus on the 12 gestures of Wei Tuo, or the popularly known as the Yi Jin Jing form. We will also learn the Tan Fu's external vigor form, which focuses on isometrics, isotonics, and isokinetics. We will also learn a standing meditation form called the Daoist heavy hands, which allows us to interact with our skeleton to develop and cultivate the skills of bone marrow washing. Other practices in the first year will include stone locks or kettlebells, basic resistance training, gymitations, which are isokinetic movements that are imitating what you would be doing in the gym with some kettlebells or some free weights. We will learn some basic yang sheng, or life-nourishing skills specifically to enhance the health of your connective tissues. We will learn some formulas for liniments and how to apply them through self-massage. We will learn some Qi Gong, or some floor work for core tone and flexibility. And we will also learn some Pai Da, which are a kind of percussive self-massage to enhance your fascia and circulation of that precursor gel. The second year. After the previous year or years of dedicated training, your entire body will be filling with plentiful qing, or life essence. Said another way, you should be feeling a lot more mojo. Your muscles, membranes, and fascia, or qin, are becoming denser and stronger, and are filling with an abundance of that gel that is full of precursors, see the graphic above, which ensure much more dense collagen structures and interconnections. This muscle density and/or muscle volume will depend on how thoroughly you have developed and tested your whole body for strength, endurance, flexibility, and shock resistance. In the second year, the purpose is to explore interactions that require a high level of embodied sensitivity while exploring more refined versions of pandiculation and tensegrity training. The focus of your resistance training will shift to increasing muscle density and elastin levels while also improving your nerve conduction throughout your whole body. This cultivates even more potent aspects of training your mind within the interactive capacities of sensation, contraction, release, and stillness. The 4 layers of Qigong mastery. In the Shaolin lineage, Qigong, martial arts, and meditation go through 4 levels. Because they are experienced simultaneously, and progress can go back and forth, they are more often referred to as the 4 layers, or Silfen. In the second year, your path needs to venture into much deeper and more tangible experience of all aspects of embodied practice, tissue awareness, and skill development. The 4 layers. The first layer is Qi Fun, which connects us with Qi, or energy, and qualities of aliveness. The Qi layer involves your innate and natural level of sensitivity, reflexes, and attention. This is where we learn the practices necessary to begin the inward and/or more advanced practices and aspects of training. The second is called Jin Fun, which includes the connective tissues that contract, stretch, and absorb impact. This is where the nature of embodied awareness, all aspects of movement and coordination, the density of your connective tissues, and refinement of attention begin to completely transform your body and mind. At this level of physicality and focus, the transformation becomes apparent on the outside as well. The third layer, or Gu Feng, relates to your bones, skeletal alignment, a reference for movement, and inner stillness. This level of interaction with your body, gravity, time, and state of being become a symphony of presence and instinctual readiness. Interacting with one's bones and skeleton requires sensitivity, patience, and the willingness to find the stillness within motion. Eventually becoming a seated or standing meditation practice, the bone layer becomes a pivot between embodied practices and the training that is devoted to coherent attention, Yi, alignment, Zhang, and clarity and tranquility, Qi Jing. The fourth layer, or Yi Feng, relates to your interactive attention, Yin Yang, coherent intent, Yi Zhi, innate natural perception and perspective, or Ziran. This aspect of practice is easier to train experientially than it is to put into words. The experience gained assessing your reflexes, the Qi layer, the many dimensions of contractile and pliable tissues, the Qin layer, your alignment and structure as you approach stillness, the bone layer, Gu Fen, all help you train your attention in preparation for the deepest aspects of whole body tensegrity and meditation. It is at the Yi layer, or Yi Fen, that martial arts, animistic movement, agility, and complete mind-body interaction and integration begin to manifest latent capacities and hidden talents. Year 2 outline. The second year is an invitation to refine every aspect of your practice, how you learn and train, and to actively begin the alchemic or subtle aspects of the muscle tendon transformation process. This year is dedicated to restoring, refining, and maximizing your Jing, or essence. In traditional Chinese medicine, your kidneys and liver share the root of yin and yang. This is expressed as Jing, or essence, which ensures your vitality and longevity if it is in abundance and in harmony. The yin aspects of Qing and Qin, your contractile tissues, are improved through building muscle density and muscle volume if it's needed, while improving joint flexibility, higher collagen levels in all of your connective tissues and bones, applying some nerve flossing, which stimulates nerve growth, percussive body conditioning or pai ta, healthy nutrition, self-massage, and facial rejuvenation practices. Now, although from a Chan or Zen perspective, physical appearance and personal beauty are not that great of a concern, from a social and behavioral perspective, it is natural to want to be as attractive and charismatic as possible for as long as possible. The yang aspects of this practice in the second year include Shaolin wall staring meditation, state-shifting breathwork, and the coherent focus, or yin yang, necessary for this level of inner cultivation. This year, your yin yang training will need to be precise, unwavering, and interactively subtle. As well, the sensual joy of conscious embodiment and the reality that yang can only remain present when it is rooted in sufficient yin. In year 2, we go even deeper into the 3 Yi Jin Jing forms. Again, with the 12 gestures of Wei Tuo, we go through deeper passes for each of the layers, Qi, Qin, Gu, and Yi. This is also true of the Tanfu's external vigor form, going deeper into those 4 layers of practice, and with the Taoist heavy hands, especially with respect to the bone layer and Yi layer, our practice goes into an immersive, spatial meditation practice. In year 2, we also explore the following skills, principles, and practices. We go deeper into the Shaolin wall staring meditation. We restore our core connections and our Qi system through the floor work or Tian Kong. We explore the Shaolin Kungfu form called Tan Tui, using some of those gestures and drills for leg strength and power. We go deeper into the stone locks and kettlebells resistance training. We also go deeper into whole body nerve flossing to improve nerve conduction and the hormones that improve nerve growth. We explore even deeper the gymitations, or using gym exercises without weights to become more aware of our anatomy and how to interact with each muscle on its own. We use resistance training and circuit training on a deeper level to improve nerve conduction. And we go deeper into our pai ta, or percussive self-massage, using bean bags and even bamboo. In year 2, we go even deeper into how to enhance our outcomes through precise use of diet. The third year. After completing the second year, your body is in the process of becoming more interconnected on a cellular level. Although theoretical, it is my understanding that a high level of Yi Jin Jing practice over at least 2 years increases 2 microfilament cellular receptor and connective tissue structures called integrins and cadherins. Cadherins help connect cells together on their external surfaces, while integrins connect your cell membranes to your intracellular matrix of organelles. Integrins support cellular communication through both biomechanical and biochemical means. And they have a unique capacity that allows your mitochondria, believe it or not, to travel along the integrins from inside of your cells outward to the surface of your cells, where they can share information through biophotons or light. And I will come back to how light is involved shortly. From a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, maximizing these integrins inside and outside of trillions of your cells and all of the subsequent supporting tissues would be an example of your kidney yin and qing being full to filling and almost overflowing. As well, your liver's expression of qin, or as elastic contractile tissues, fibers, and even microfilaments, are also an expression of qing. These microfilaments may be thought of as the finest matter expressions of your qin, or contractile tissues, with respect to your Yi Jin Jing practice, and with respect to the physical aspects of your meridian system. Also, given their capacity for cellular communication Integrins are also a profound resource or a limiting factor in the conduction and flow of qi. Again, they move information. When you have healthy Jing or essence and Jin connected tissues, your qi will feel bright, adaptive, and always available. Honestly, you do not need a scientific, biochemical, or biomechanical understanding of how all of this works for a successful practice. However, understanding the details can be helpful for modern practitioners to imagine and explore these practices with confidence. Your mind and body meet in sensation. For thousands of years, the only science was actually just sensation and meaning. Consider this: the most important experiences in your life are felt. It is through your felt sense experience, or through your innate sense apparatus, that all aspects of foundational Neigong practices are cultivated. Your sensations, feelings, emotions, states, and the sentimental aspects of your individual story are the guideposts to how all of us navigate our lives and our spiritual journeys. An aspect of fascia that is not commonly known is its ability to feel. In fact, your fascia is almost as sensitive to your embodied experience as your skin. This is one reason an embodied practice has such profound influence and benefit in people's lives. It is also true that many of your sentiments, past traumas, present intuitions, emotions, and meditative qualities of coherence and stillness are also felt through your somatic embodied awareness, through your fascia, through your qin, which includes through your fascia, through your integrins, through the finest matter connections of every cell in your body. On the Yi Jin Jing journey, like in most spiritual traditions, the ultimate destination is the reunion of your heart with your spirit, and your spirit with Tao, or God, or perhaps some unknowable quantum aspect of reality. In the third year, the methods of cultivation are sometimes referred to as transforming or transmuting refined yin, including the Jing, or the water, into true yang, or spiritual illumination, called Shenming. Your Qing, or your precursor gel, your embodied cultivation, your Qi, and your Yi Nian, your coherent attention, or your spirit, are now ready to transform regularly cultivated Qing and Qin, essence and connective tissues, into a spiritually refined, illuminated, or radiant expression of your mind-body harmony. Said another way, your gel body becomes a light body. Now that can sound a bit woo-woo. Indigenous traditions, including early Taoist practices and traditional Chinese medicine, see the world in a contextual or a non-literal way. For example, in traditional Chinese medicine, your heart relates to the element or phase of fire. Now, fire can be a lifesaver in its warmth, or it can be life-threatening as an out-of-control wildfire. Fire consumes fuel, or qing, as fast or as slow as you experience or try to manifest more fire. This is why focusing on increasing and refining water, or qing, is the first thing to focus on. Another way to relate to your heart and to the dangerous context of fire is to shift the definition of hua from fire to light. Given that there is natural light, bioluminescent light, biophotonic light, piezoelectric light, spiritual light, and even alchemic light. Or maybe even all of the above. The way of spiritual illumination and radiance. Shenming Zhe. Taoist cultivation has many paths or branches, depending on the lineage and approach to your practice. Most traditions speak about the process or path of spiritual luminosity as a consistent and recognizable manifestation of successful progress. With the dedicated third year of practice, your available water, kidney, essence, or qing should be potentially as clear and tranquil, qing, as a perfectly flat and mirror-like pond reflecting the sky or light perfectly. This is a nice image and a somewhat monastic ideal, but no one starts there. The Xing element or phase, or way of moving of water, begins with a condensation of water into clouds and then the falling of rain, which is really the element of metal. Water, or Qing, eventually pours into any space, into a pond, a lake, or even the ocean, and it fills that space until it pours over to feed the world around it. A successful second year ensures you have sufficient Qing moving towards stable and strong kidneys and freely moving liver Qi. The shores of your inner lake, your water, are made of soil, or of toned and pliable, nourished and hydrated, and highly interconnected tissues that are sensually free of distress across all of your anatomy, tranquil and fluid, interconnected and coherent. Your gel body returns to a clear, liquid crystal state, or to a light body. This light body state is not permanent and is accessed through your qigong or Daoyin practice and is most effectively cultivated through the Yi Jin Jing practices. This light body state is a property of advanced practices, although there are several ways that science agrees with efficiency increasing the physical light coming from your cells, mitochondria, integrins, and piezoelectric aspects of your collagen. Those mechanisms are also, honestly, just expressions of natural qi physiology. And a radiant or illuminated spirit, a shenming, is rooted in efficient and available qi, which relies on abundant and clear qing. It's all connected. Cultivating spiritual radiance in the Yi Jin Jing system relies on strong liver and kidneys for healthier qing or essence and jin, contractile tissue. A part of this includes releasing habitual postural and somatic habits of embodied distress and trauma, which allows your soil or earth or spleen or flesh to make an adaptive and responsive shore for your essence. The third year is about the light, or what is reflected by your water, the shui or qing. This year is less about building more muscle volume or muscle mass or qin, and more about meaning, coherence, presence, and embodying your spiritual truth, whatever that may be for you. When your spirit is calm, when your essence is secure, called An Shen Si Jing, and when you have begun the cycles of developing true soil, called Shen Ti, or authentic embodiment, called Shen Ti, your qi is no longer used unnecessarily and returns to your birthright of abundant qi and a bright and luminous experience of spirit and consciousness, or Shen. Again, when your spirit is calm and your essence is secure, and you're beginning the cycles of opening to true soil and authentic embodiment, your qi is no longer used unnecessarily and can return to your birthright of abundance and return you to a bright and luminous experience of spirit. Remember the context of fire and light. Light is your innate emanation of being. It takes no effort. It has already illuminated itself from Qing. Light is free. However, it can dissipate without interaction and meaning. This is something you can always recognize in people because they have a certain light in their eyes, a certain quiet smile on their face, a depth of patience, and often a great sense of humor. And as the classics say, animals and children naturally trust them, and those with highly developed intuition can see someone with shunning from far, far away. In the third year, the experience of self as ego, self as mind, gradually shifts from a form of identity to an expression of the unborn mind we call Yuan Shen. In the third year, the three Yi Jin Jing forms are taken to an even more subtle level. With the 12 gestures of Wei Tuo, we explore the Tian Shan system of Qigong, which involves a melting body into varying interactions of stillness. With the tanfu as its external vigor of form, the focus is now on the gel body becoming the light body, both through conversion and inversion. In the Taoist heavy hands form, the focus is going back to the early indigenous alchemy of transforming metal back to air, water, and its need for properly established soil. Other skills, principles, and practices in year 3. The third year being again a focus on animating our gel body into a light body encourages us to go back to the origin of early Taoian practice through the Wu Xin Qi, the 5 animal frolics, which we will explore both in its oldest forms and some new contemporary, more full expressions of those practices. In our Yang Sheng Fa, cultivation of vitality and longevity, we will embark on a 10-week cleansing, rejuvenation, and longevity rite of passage. We will take a small detour to introduce ourselves to Mekong through opening some meridians and Dantian practices. This includes the willow dance, which opens your meridians, an introduction to the microcosmic orbit, or Xiaojiaqian, to make sure that your extraordinary meridians are circulating properly on the inside, developing what is called the sacred womb to begin the process of cultivating a sacred embryo, or sheng tai. We take our stone locks, kettlebells, into a deeper phase of Tabata training, which also encourages us to play with our gymitations or our weightlifting without weights into the Tabata training or cross-linking core aspects of resistance training. After completing the 3 years of the Yi Jin Jing, the bone marrow washing, and the deeper aspects of meditation, you will have cultivated what is needed for a lifelong practice, a very long lifelong practice of longevity, embodied awareness, meditation, and spiritual illumination. If you are interested in learning more about these practices, please tap the link in the description. Thank you for your attention, and I truly hope you're having a good day and feeling deeply into your embodiment, your essence, your contractile tissues, and all of your opportunities to develop that precursor gel body that someday may become a light body. Well, that's a lot to think about and learn about and consider, especially if you're new to the more advanced and internal aspects of Qigong cultivation. If you're interested in learning this system of practice, at present we are about 6 classes into the first year of the 3-year process. It would only take you about 2 months to get through those first 6 classes and catch up with the rest of the group so that you could join in and participate as well. Another option is to learn the first year through the recordings and with a bit of coaching one-on-one with me. And in the second year, join in live with the rest of the group. As we get deeper and deeper into the subtleties, perhaps complexities of this practice, it's important to have one-on-one interaction. It's important to have group interaction. It's important after each practice to have a chance to ask questions if you can. The last thing that any of us wants to do is end up on a side quest or journey or misunderstanding and train into our system habits that we may have to untrain before repairing and then training the proper aspects of the practice later. If you are interested in this lineage of Shaolin Qigong and inner cultivation, please contact me and let me know, and I'll see what I can do to help you join in with this practice or at least benefit from what's available that's out there already.